everyone, and welcome to our video that we're recapping the winners and losers in tech of 2023. One of the big winners this year for me, and I kind of hate to admit it, open standards and Apple.
Why do you want to hate to admit it? This is good. This is a good thing.
It's a good thing, but it feels like giving Apple too much credit.
So we're talking about a couple protocols specifically.
Yes.
Which ones?
So this year, to my surprise, the iPhone 15s had USB-C. We had the adoption of RCS in messages or iMessage on the iOS side of things. And finally, we also had seen Apple at the start of the year mention that they were going to be part of T2, which is the wireless charging standard, but also that like when T2 actually finally released later in the year, iPhone 15s were among the first devices to support it. I mean, my mind was blown.
I think we have to admit that this is actually maybe a little bit forced by some of the regulation in the EU.
Thanks to the EU, this might become a thing of the past.
It's really nice to have Apple support that on the iPhone, but there are still some issues. The standard iPhone 15 and the iPhone 15 Pro, they have different data speeds and transfers, and why does it have to be like that? It's a little frustrating.
Give up the blue bubble, right? Like, I feel like for me, RCS, I think there's too much stigma attached to the green bubble, blue bubble thing. Do you have a fun loser pick for me, Sam?
We're gonna start with a thing that's right in front of me, which is Surface hardware. I think the issue is sales for Surface devices really tank in 2023, and it doesn't look like they're gonna recover, at least in the near term. We know Microsoft can do better, so it's really disappointing to not see them invest more into the Surface device ecosystem.
What do you mean by Microsoft can do better? Like, what's your highlight Surface hardware product?
This thing right in front of me, the Surface Laptop Studio 2. I've said it in my review. It's like the ideal all-rounder. It can do almost anything. Look, I can flip the screen backwards and forwards. It has a really interesting design. I love the finish of it, and it has just enough performance where I can, game on it. If you look at what Microsoft announced for the Surface family this year, it was largely spec refreshes. And so we didn't get any new designs. We didn't get much in the way of interesting hardware to, I think it was 2019, they had a huge press event where they announced the Surface Duo and then the Surface Neo, which was a cool dual screen kind of super portable laptop, but that never came to light. On top of that, we also had the exit of Microsoft chief hardware person in Panos Panay.
It feels as if this year Microsoft gave up its hardware dreams, all in pursuit of AI.
And that's not to say that AI is important, clearly it is, but at the same time, for a lot of old school people, Microsoft hardware has always been an important part of the company, and to see it kind of get neglected in 2023 is definitely a bummer.
If you have any hopes for Microsoft in 2024, what would you tell them?
Please, make a Surface gaming laptop. You can even call it an Xbox gaming laptop, or better yet, make an Xbox branded gaming handheld.
Speaking of gaming handhelds, Sam, this was a big year for gaming handhelds. Do you feel excited as a gamer?
I am so excited because these are the devices that I always wanted as a kid. Now we have these PC gaming handhelds that can pretty much run everything. They're not super expensive. We're talking, starting at $500. Same price as a console, but you can take it anywhere you go, and half the price of, a decently spec'd gaming laptop. If you want to hook it up to a monitor, if you want to hook it up to a keyboard, you can turn it into a mini desktop PC if you're so inclined. And on top of it, there are a whole bunch of other smaller companies, a lot of them are in China, have just come out and given us a whole spectrum of gaming handhelds to really dive into. It gives you more freedom of how you want to play it and where you want to play it and when you want to play it.
Do you have a favorite?
I got mine right here because...
Is it a Steam Deck OLED?
So this is the Steam Deck OLED, and the original model came out last year. They took what was already, I think, one of the most accessible gaming handhelds, and they pretty much addressed all of my complaints by adding that OLED screen. Improved efficiency thanks to, a new chip. Talking back to one of our losers, one of the issues for at least the Windows one is Microsoft Windows itself. It's just a little clunky to get in and out of your games.
We call out the PlayStation Portal this year, which as much as we were talking about handhelds, gaming handhelds as a whole winning, the PlayStation Portal just seemed like such a dud also.
I wanted that thing to be so good, and it seems like that was such a missed opportunity for Sony to really put their own twist on the gaming handheld space.
Do you think that the market is now so saturated with all these companies doing their thing, or is 2024 also going to be a big
no,
year?
I think this is just the start.
Okay.
It feels like this space is just ready to explode.
Damn. Well, I'm expecting some Christmas games from you.
The next kind of natural loser to talk about, I guess, is E3 or the death of it.
R.I.P. E3. Have you ever been to an E3?
I've never been to E3. It was
we never will.
I know, it was on my like tech bucket list of events to go to, and now I'm never gonna have the chance. And I think part of it is COVID. If you look at the attendance was at near record highs for 2017, 2018, 2019, and then COVID came along. It forced people to look at alternatives, which ended up being live streams, especially towards the end of E3's run. A lot of it had become like, hey, we're gonna see a lot of trailers at E3, and you know what you don't need to do in person is you don't need to see trailers in person.
Right. I will say though, I think that like the death knell of E3 is only the start of like a death knell for a lot of like live events in general. Things like MWC, things like IFA, they're really decreasing in importance. We started to see that. If you're watching this and you're like really bummed about E3 going away, leave us a comment. And what other like shows do you watch instead? Do you go to like PAX or do you go to GDC for your games coverage or your upcoming trailers fest? Hey, speaking of leaving us comments, what's up? Do you want to talk to me on Twitter? You can't!
Do you want to talk about what is probably one of your winners of the year?
Threads. Kudos to Meta and Co. And the amount of people that signed up really quickly, fast surpassed all the other like Twitter wannabes. Got kind of flung by the wayside because Threads popped up. I was there like the first night Threads opened. It was like Disneyland without line. But right now it's kind of subsided, right? I think we were also reporting quite quickly how like a week after getting these record numbers of signups and engagement number fell off a cliff.
It was really like the most optimistic people had been about social media in a long time.
Who other than Meta to do a better job than anyone else at copying the shit out of something? Elon Musk got so angry that he wanted to fight Zuckerberg in a physical fight. We never saw that happen.
I'm still upset about it.
It's both a win and a loss for everybody.
Of course, if we're talking about how Threads is a winner in 2023, we have to talk about the flip side of that. Are you ready?
Oh, yes.
Because we have to talk about the tire fire that is Twitter, or what is the app that is now known as X. After seeing what Jack Dorsey had done with Twitter and then the handover to Elon Musk, it feels like Elon is destroying everything that people kind of liked about Twitter.
It was so much fun to watch everything that was going on at Twitter from a distance. I think I felt really bad for everyone involved that had livelihoods that were based off of their jobs.
You feel bad for the employees who didn't know what was going on anymore. Now he's running it like it's a toy. He's not running it like a business. But honestly, it could get worse. We've had a lot of big name advertisers like Apple and Disney pull off of X. And so it's like, when is X/Elon going to hit rock bottom? And that's a question that I don't think anyone can answer right now. Okay, so let's talk about something a little bit happier. Sherlyn, do you want to pick our next winner?
I think it's very clear in 2023, one thing dominated all of our news cycles, all of our brains, all of our workloads. It was AI. Do you remember a time when you had to pay for access to ChatGPT and now you can just use whatever the hell you want to get some AI to do work for you? Back in the day, DALL-E was not something that you could have, easy access to, and now everyone's making pictures of cats riding motorbikes. It's really wild how in 2023 we saw the proliferation of generative AI.
We're so inundated with, hey, let's put AI in everything, where it's like I have to pull back and figure out where are specific places where AI actually feels useful to me.
Like this year we saw Google insert generative AI into phones, and I thought that was really cool to see, like Gemini-powered Google Assistant.
I think for me, that was the most tangible benefit of AI, was using the Magic Editor to be like, hey, I have this photo, it generally looks great, but I want to make a couple small changes, and I can do it right inside the Google Photos app. I don't have to, send it to another app. And so that combination, I can see the real tangible benefits of what AI is bringing to this particular device.
I think in tandem, we also started to see people have these really important conversations about the ethics surrounding AI, as well as the dangers of kind of not identifying AI-generated content clearly. I think, yes, good for you, generative AI. You're a winner in my book this year, but we still gotta be careful that you don't get too powerful.
This is just the beginning.
Do you still read Reddit? Because Reddit's on our list of losers this year.
So yeah, I was looking in this list and I'm like, wait, why is Reddit on the list of losers? And this is something that I actually kind of completely forgot about, and I've just gotten used to the new normal, even though the new normal kind of sucks.
It does suck. Reddit had this whole fiasco, really, where the company was trying to block third-party apps and block a lot of APIs that are accessing it.
I was a big Reddit is fun user, and so for a long time I had been on the third-party app train, and then they forced everyone to go use the first-party app, which is still really clunky.
And also, with all of that was going on, there were huge boycotts. So a lot of these subreddits that I liked either went dark or completely went away.
It just made everything really messy.
It's so messy, it's so fragmented.
Now it's time to talk about another winner, and let's talk about something that I've been using a lot, which is foldable phones.
Yeah, can you clap with your phone? Because he can.
So, since 2019, Samsung has kind of had a virtual monopoly on the whole foldable phone industry, especially in the West, a little bit different in China. But this year we got two big new entries into the space with the Pixel Fold right here and the OnePlus Open. It's really nice to see because I think they've invigorated the competition, and now we have the Pixel Fold comes in here with an interesting new form factor. It's super thin, it's super sleek, and they didn't really cut any corners with the camera. And then we have the OnePlus where they come in also super thin, but OnePlus added their own kind of a twist on the form factor with their new Open Canvas software, which makes multitasking really, really engaging. And then on top of that, they had that crazy trade-in deal where you can trade in any phone, even if it's like 10 years old or broken or whatever.
Any phone? You could trade in any phone?
Any phone.
For $300?
Yes.
That's the real winner of the year? What are we talking about? Come on.
But even just for me, I've just noticed a lot more foldable phones in the wild.
More and more people, like you said, out on the street, I'm seeing them use Z Flips as well.
People are seeing that like, hey, these devices offer something different than your standard glass brick. And just having that choice available is like something that I think is really good for, the ecosystem as a whole. We're gonna wrap it up with one more loser. Sherlyn, you wanna give us a clue what it is?
I was so sad when Amazon announced it's shutting down all of its Halo hardware this year, but it's really been a long time coming. I mean, Amazon's Halo health-focused devices have not done very well over the years. I mean, people probably don't even know they exist, and that's why they've shut down. I will say I am sad because it feels like Amazon just finally started to hit that sweet spot of getting it right with the Amazon Halo Rise. It's a bedside sleep tracker where you just plug it in and it will watch you sleep, but like not creepy because it's not using cameras, it's using like sort of radar, similar to how the Google Nest like hub does it, except for, this is screenless. It's built to blend into your bedside table setup. I loved it. It was accurate. I didn't need to do a lot to futz around with it, and all I did every morning was look at my sleep stats, and it was accurate. And then 3 months later, they're like, nah, bye. And they shut it down.
Well, that's about it for our winners and losers for 2023. And as always, if you got something to say to us, leave a comment down below. And we have CES coming up really soon. So I know Sherlyn's gonna be a little tired for that, but hey, we gotta do it. And maybe we'll see some new winners and losers for 2024 at that show. So stay tuned to Engadget for more news, reviews, and videos.